All right, so I just want to point out here what's happening in the forefront of this new development, which is typical of most developments. Do you see a lot of trees and do you see a lot of plant diversity? No. But if you go back beyond that to the mountains, you'll see there's a tremendous amount of tree diversity back there. And there's also a lot of understory diversity. So a lot of different ephemeral flowers, and other plants that provide habitat and homes for birds and insects. This expansive extension of lawns essentially is a monoculture. It doesn't provide a lot of habitat or home for birds, and it also provides a lot of utility or usage, I shouldn't say utility, but a lot of opportunities for the use of pesticides, herbicides, and high-intensity fertilizers. So a lot of these lawns are managed by lawn companies that really don't do a lot of soil analysis, typically. That's typical out here anyway. And because of that, you just get a throwing on of fertilizers to make sure that the lawn stays green without regard for the actual soil. That disturbs the soil microbial community. Add further insult to that by adding a bunch of pesticides, fungicides, also herbicides, and then of course insecticides. That will all decrease not only the fungal diversity that's in the soil that's critical for tree health and shrub health, but is also critical for, but also the application, of pesticides is also going to reduce the number of insects, both in terms of abundance as well as reduce insect diversity. Although you can imagine just this extensive lawn is really reducing tremendous opportunities for pollinators. Most birds feed on insects. So once again, I'm going to remind you all that we've lost 3 million birds and counting. And we have massive declines in insect species abundance, so total counts, year after year after year, as well as massive declines in diversity. So that means that since a lot of plants rely on insects to get pollinated and birds rely on insects for food, we're losing diversity all the way around. And we're leaving just these little teeny tiny habitat segments as our hotspots of biodiversity for the indigenous plants from the areas we live in. Add to this the impacts of climate change, increasing drought, increasing pathogens. We're losing a lot of that diversity back there, and it's being replaced by invasive species that get, basically decimate the ephemeral or understory populations. It's really a catastrophe, and one way that we could easily make a significant, albeit small, but I think substantial impact to address climate change and this loss of biodiversity is simply to change the way we do our yards. Stop focusing on lawns and start focusing on the native indigenous flora that is oftentimes far more beautiful, far more interesting, a great way to educate your kids. That is an opportunity that we have as homeowners, and I think really a responsibility. If you want my opinion, and you got it.